was asked recently by a friend who just passed the licence exam for the foundation online, and they said to me that they haven't found much on how you go about talking on air. If you've done your licence at home or at a club where you just signed up and gone and done the exam licence there, you may not have done any on-air work if you've not come from a radio background. Some of us come from CB radio, so we'd had a bit of an idea about how to work a radio, such as the squelch control and the mic gain and things like this. More often than not, if you go to a club, that's all set up for you. And what we used to do at Workshop, we'd call out on air under the call sign of the club for any contacts, basically. And what would happen is sometimes you get somebody come back and we'd explain, because more than likely it was a local or a member, that, well, we're just doing some on air work. Got some new want to be hand, some newbies down at the club. They want to take the test, and one time there's a criteria. You had to do so much, like your on air test and know how to wire a radio to a power supply, all this kind of thing, tune an SSB signal. And you probably still do that in the foundation license. I'm not certain, I've not seen the book for a long time. But basically, this friend said to me that I can't find much on how you go about shouting. Well, in my time, we've heard people call CQ through a repeater. We have a giggle about it, but it's not the sort of way it really ought to be done. What you're best with on a repeater is your call sign and then listening through. So, for instance, M7 ABC listening through GB3 DS, we'll say, which is one of our local repeaters. And obviously then just listen out for a little while, and if you don't hear anything straight away, put another call out listening through. Or if you've got a friend that is listening, maybe you need to arrange a schedule with them on the radio, on the repeater, and put a call out for that person. Arrange it with them, decide what time you're going to do it and what frequency you're going to go to. So if you do get lost with each other, you know where to find each other. So if you went on to 2 meters, 145, 500, and you wanted to call your friend, basically this is M7ABC, or whatever your call sign is, male, female, doesn't matter what you are, you got call sign. So if you go on there, you call out, what you'll get with some people, they'll say M0 Golf Echo Tango listening through on a repeater. So obviously anybody then might come back and give you a call. On a frequency such as 2 meters calling frequency, you might call CQ. Some of you might not understand the CQ call. If you think about it, seek you. I'm seeking you, seeking contact. So that's basically all it stands for. CQ2, CQ2, CQ2. If you're on 2 meters, maybe contesting. CQ contest, CQ contest, CQ contest. Because people are contesting sometimes on sideband, sometimes on FM. You'll hear the CQ contest. So if you're on an open frequency, call CQ and hopefully somebody come back. If you struggle what to say, just go on CQ2, 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 M7 ABC, listening through, or listening any calls. If you're on the repeater, listening through. If you're calling on the open frequencies, like a calling frequency, listening any calls. And sometimes you might get a bit sort of confused, like I'm doing here, but you're remembering these things. They'll start to stick in your head. Oh, I did it wrong last time, I'll do it right this time. So that's probably one of the best ways to start if you've not got anybody around you that you can talk to. If you've got somebody around you that you can talk to, maybe arrange a schedule with them. Go to a different frequency rather than a call-in frequency. Maybe go to 433 400 on 70 centimeters and arrange a time and then give it a go. He's there, and just give him a call. M7 ABC, this is M7 XYZ. Are you listening? Are you about? Are you on frequency? And obviously when they come back, you've got your first contact on the radio. So then obviously they'll come back, yes, this is M7 XYZ to M7 ABC. Yeah, good evening. And if you're on a calling frequency, pick a frequency and move to it. Check it's clear. Anybody on this frequency, is this frequency in use? If nobody comes back, continue with the conversation. If you've already made a schedule and you're on 4335 400 or whatever you are, just continue on with your talk. If you want to try a signal report, okay, look at your signal meter, judge their audio by your own hearing and not by particularly how loud you've turned the radio up. So obviously, it doesn't matter as such which you give first. Some people are a little bit more strict. I prefer 5-9 or 5-5 or whatever for the signal being the second digit given. Other people do it a different way. It doesn't matter, it's irrelevant really, as long as the person that you're telling understands. They may ask you, is that 5 and 5? Oh yeah, that's 5 and 5. If you come back and say that's 9 and 5, they may likely question that, because obviously it's not the normal way of giving it. Oh yeah, you're a signal 9 but you're a radio 5. Right, so you're a 5 and 9. Yeah, you're 5 and 9. Yeah, that's it. And basically you've got your signal report across there, and obviously they might want to do the same for you, you know, and to give you a signal report, check how you're getting out to them. And therefore, once you've done that, you've got your signal report, you've got the call signs established, you've got your conversation going, you know. Hey up mate, how you doing? What you been doing today? You know, you don't have to be hello old man, how are you? What are we doing today? You know, you don't, just be yourself, just talk, just chat. So, you know, some people have got this idea that ham radio guys are a bit stuck up and look down on CB radio operators. A lot of it's not true. It's people that want to believe it's true. I've seen it happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you've got people that want to think it's a big thing. And in reality, we're all playing radio, you know. There's CB radio here, there's amateur radio here. The Skull and Crossbones goes back some years to when we were doing things differently, you know, and I've always sort of enjoyed CB radio. And so we have that as a reminder in a way, you know, of where most of us in my circle came from. You know, a lot of us started on AM CB radio, and we've done all sorts of stuff all over the place sometimes, you know, sometimes a little bit smack on the wrist if they catch you. But at the end of the day, we're now doing what we're doing. We passed the exam, we're playing radio. Some people never bother, they're still on CB radio. So still speak to them, don't ignore them. If I go on and one of them's on, I'll have a chat with them. And that's how I think it should be. And most hams and CB radio operators have got it in their head that, yeah, oh, it's interesting what I'm interested in. But there is this little community out there, oh, I don't want to have aught to do with them, or I'm not having aught to do with them. You might have had a bad experience with one CB or one radio ham. You know, you're not having aught to do with you, know. Okay, so you don't need to have aught to do with them, but there'll be other people that'll talk to you. You know, so get on the air, give it a go. If you're struggling with call signs, and your call sign doesn't kind of roll off the tongue because you've not practiced your phonetics, or it's a dodgy call sign, so your letters are a bit all kerfuffled, you know. Give it a practice in your own head, you know. Go practice the phonetics on car registrations, your cat's name, your missus's name, you know, your name. Charlie Hotel Alpha India Romeo, chair, done, you know. Shack Sierra Hotel Alpha Charlie Kilo. So you start to get these in your head a little bit and put the phonetics into what you do normally. You know, if you're on the phone and they're asking for your address, put the phonetics in there. Most people on phones know phonetics because they've been working with people for a long time. So they need to be able to guess the letter with some people. Whereas if they learn phonetics, they can say Charlie, oh yes, Charlie, yes, E for Charlie, that's correct. You know, so they understand that. And most people do understand basic phonetics. But don't be afraid to give it a try, you know. Little conversation in your own head, you know, in phonetics, you know. It's not hard. All you're doing, you walk around, you pick a car number, you do the car number. So you're also doing numbers, which you'll be doing on air anyway. 5, 9, you know, numbers there. And then obviously your phonetics, so you stick them in. Santiago 5, most of you may have heard that. Santiago 9, Signal 9, S9. So they're in there already in the radio hobby. Practice them a little bit, get used to them, familiarise yourselves with them, and hopefully when you get on air you'll have a little bit more confidence to put the mic key down and actually have a chat with people. Don't be afraid to call out. I feel many people sit on the side when they've passed their exam, and many old hands do it. I'm a listener as well. They'll sit there and they'll have a listen and they're enjoying conversation, but they're a bit, oh, I don't want to call in, because if I call in, it's a good conversation. I might not be on their level and it might die, that conversation. Then I've got no one to listen to, or I might feel stupid. Well, it's a moment's embarrassment if you call in and, oh, I'm so-and-so, and they say, okay, what's your name? Your moment embarrassment, I'll go back at them, you know, have a chat with them. The thing is, a moment's embarrassment might be a sad thing for you for a second or two, but it's a lifetime's of achievement then, because you've got over that embarrassment. You know, you've gone on air the first time, you've had your first chat, and hopefully that gives you the confidence to do it again. Maybe joining a net somewhere that you hear going. Most of them call them a net or a circle. CB used to call it a circle. So we have a group round here that I call it the radio circle. But it's we're not all on the frequency all the time, but we have different ways of keeping in touch with each other. So we've not just got radios, we've got modern sort of stuff like Zello and things like that. We have this Midland CB app, we use those. Obviously you've got your mobile phone if you want to have a chat privately that's not for over the radio. One of your family's ill and you need a bit of advice or something like that. Somebody's not feeling very well. You might not want to do that over the radio. So, there's a really good place for radio. And a lot of people, they say, well, what are you going to talk about? Well, really, you don't have to sit and talk about radio all the time. If you think how many people in our society are either elderly or ill, can't get out of the house, and they don't really speak to many people, particularly the older generation. They don't speak to many people. Well, something like amateur radio can be a good thing for people like that because it's a contact with the outside world, in a way. The local community, it might be a small radio community, but you're part of that community on the air. A friend of mine, Fred G3XXN, said to me once, he said, well, our club is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on the repeaters and on the radio. And he's right in a way. Some of us don't sleep too good at the moment, and so for me, I'll do things like this, or I'll be playing radio. If some of my friends are on, I'll be having a chat. I probably won't be doing this video right now, but at the end of the day, it's a way of filling a bit of time in your life if you've got that time, and maybe fulfilling an interest that you had when you were younger and you never got round to doing. I'll get round to doing it. I took the RAE originally in the mid-90s and I failed it first time. And I was due to take it again the second time, and I wasn't in a good place. So a friend of mine, Mark, M1TVR, he tried to get me to go to college, and I just, I weren't in a good place, so I didn't go. Regretted it for many, many years. And I came about 2002, I think, to the radio club. And I did my exam there, and I spoke to all my friends on the CB radio. And basically, the club, when I first went, they've got 12 members. And within a short time, talking to people and chit-chatting on the radio, and all the people that I knew on CB and they knew, and then other people, it just spread. And there was something like 180 members all of a sudden, over probably a year. So it can grow just by sort of talking to other people on the CB radio. If you've got friends that want to do it, you might get others that are pulling you down, or what do you want to go and do that for? Think you're better than us. And it's not about thinking you're better, it's about enjoying the hobby for you. If they don't want to do it, that's down to them. Leave them to play what they want to play. I'm happy to leave people that don't want to be a radio ham to play CB. I'm happy to play CB as well. I enjoy all kinds of radio. But yeah, just give it a go, and don't be frightened to get on air, and don't be over worried about making a boo-boo where somebody might say something to you and pick you up on it, because it's a mistake that you may make. But if they might just give you a gentle reminder, but you might think, oh yeah, I won't do that again. I'll not do that again next time. Anyway, hope that helps a little bit. Pretty new to doing videos like this, so maybe not got the best on-screen presence, but I'm not here for good looks, as you can tell. But basically, at the end of the day, we've all got a face for radio, guys. Come on, be honest. We all look in the mirror now. We're looking in the mirror. It's like, who's that old man looking back at me? A lot of us, we're not the old young spring chickens we were before. So, don't just be sitting listening there, and don't be worried about getting on air and having a chat. What your voice sounds like, how you may come across to people. If you come across a bit harsh with a comment, they'll get used to you, you'll get used to them, and you'll find that actually we've got a lot in common between CB radio and radio amateur bands. We're all playing radio, microphone, radio, coax, antenna, and that's what it is, really. It's just radio. So enjoy it, and don't be frightened to key that microphone, and as I said, join in as and when you can.